Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Anasa. So happy to be here with you. So glad to see everybody made it with daylight saving time. And hopefully the daylight will be saving for us. We're ready for some sun. So let's start with meditation. Take your attention inside, directly below your belly button, and allow all your attention to drop into the lower dantian in Chinese medicine, the place just below your belly button. And allow yourself to relax your attention into that space. Feel it kind of draining from between your ears into the space just below your belly button. And feel your body relax in whatever position you're in, so that you can begin to access this deeper self that we all share with a capital S. And as you feel into this space, begin to use your breath and the space between the breaths to feel into stillness. And when you're ready, drop your attention down to your tailbone. And feel your breath align with the gentle motion in the tailbone going back on the inhale. And coming forward on the exhale. And feel for that space in between. Gently feel your attention rise to your solar plexus. And especially feel for the expansion slightly behind your body so that you feel into your back as well as the front. If you feel any restriction in any of these places, just take a minute and visualize that you're standing on under a shower of white light that purifies and releases anything that's held in us that we don't need. So just for a minute, say, everything that's not mine, please leave, and allow this white light to come from above your head as though you're standing in this shower of divine grace, allowing all the tensions to just fall out into the earth where they serve other living energies beneath us. And you can do this any time in your day when things just get to be a lot. as you're ready, gently take your attention into your heart center. Gently allow your attention to go up to your throat center. Then into your third eye behind and between your eyebrows. And up through the crown of your head. And we'll sit in this openness for a few minutes. Just take a minute to feel into the purity of your intention to connect with the highest. the highest that's available for every human being. And it's at the core of who and what we are, not outside of us. It is the source of our life, of the vitality that serves every living thing. And as you're ready, hold to that connection and gently open your eyes. Take your time. We're so happy to be with you this morning. How may we serve?
I felt really connected to you during a really dark time, and many other beings of light, gods and goddesses. And I just wanted to ask what you were trying, what do you want me to know the most?
We're going to ask to answer this in a very general way because this is our wish for all of humanity, that comfort that we seek in our times of difficulty, that comfort that we seek is found inside of ourselves. And understanding that what we are made of comes from that divine creativity, and all of our experiences come from that. And every human being experiences a mix of everything from delight to despair. And the purpose of doing meditation and spiritual practice is understanding that in that mix, in the center of that mix, there is always a calm. And that in that calm, that stillness is God's love. And that we can release all of our fear, struggle, and torment are not knowing what's going to happen next. Our fear that it will never get better. And we all have moments like this, every single one of us. And we can find the word that's coming is equanimity, a sense of peace, that this is part of the human experience, and that, you know, the teaching is that there's no difference between samsara and nirvana. Samsara is the difficulties we experience in life, and nirvana is the bliss of connection to the beautiful, beautiful experience that is available to the human being, to all human beings. And we all experience this whole spectrum. And the interesting thing about being human is that whatever experience we are having in this moment, we project onto the rest of our lives. My toe hurts, and all we can think about is our toe hurts. And emotional pain is the same. You know, when it comes on, that's all that exists for us. And so the practice of meditation is to breathe into that. It's not that we push it away or deny it in any way, but we understand that it is very much like the weather. If we allow ourselves to experience it fully, it will change. It always does. If you look at your own emotional experience, the times we get in trouble is when it doesn't change, when we're fixed on the idea that it will never change. And then that is us holding on to something. And if we can allow ourselves to find some beauty, something to be grateful for, in a moment, we will notice that something different begins to happen inside. This is not denial of anything. This is an effort to use our attention to change our experience, our inner experience. And as we do this and get more facile with it, but we allow ourselves to deeply experience that which is uncomfortable, because all parts are welcome. Nothing is out of bounds. If we make something out of bounds, then it becomes in our shadow that we can't see. But if we allow it, totally allow it, then it shows its true color, and the true color of every experience we have is that at its root, it is pure energy. And it has no particular negative or positive to it. It is pure energy. And what we are experiencing in a given moment is going through the rays, or speaking of energy as rays, the rays of our past. And it is our spiritual practice to transmute ourselves. By recognizing the pure energy at the source, which has no agenda except life itself. Does that make sense? And so the important thing is that we no longer expect that to come from outside of us, but we instead are cultivating that which is deep within us. And we understand that the very source of our life is love itself. And in that understanding, whatever that love brings to us, is in a certain way a gift to bring into harmony. And the greatest fear that we all have is death. Every single one of us. And so when we understand that all our fears are based in that one thing, then there's a kind of peace that can happen. And one of the things about age is that we notice that our life experience is a bit like a kaleidoscope. You know, those things you look in and they change, and then they change, and then they change, and they change. Well, our life is like that. And so it's sort of like, you know, if you wait long enough, it's going to change to something different. And our inner experience can often be a reflection of what we are cultivating in our outer life. So if we surround ourselves with things that uplift our experience as much as we can, then we tend to become that. And so we do that in our environment. And we do that as much as we can in our inner environment. This is why we meditate, because we are cultivating we are cultivating the ability to bring our love, peace, joy, and gratitude to our sorrow, despair, anger, fear, hatred, shame, and find a balance in ourselves that accepts both sides. This is what human beings are made of. And we find a place of equanimity in ourselves, in the center. You know how the fulcrum of the balance point of any relationship, any physical relationship, and it works the same throughout the dynamics, there is always a balance point, a fulcrum. And that balance point or fulcrum is equanimity. And when we take ourselves, allow ourselves to experience the heart of our awareness, we talk about it as a dimensional shift that happens because our lives are lived in a linear perceptive world. Our mind functions in a linear, our language translates our experience into something linear. And yet when we reach into the depths of ourselves, the source of ourselves, we begin to experience nonlinear. And it is in this nonlinear where the source of our life exists. And nonlinear, in a way, can be equated to non-judgmental. And we can see that it is our judgment that reduces our experience, especially the self-talk that we have that repeats over and over. You know, and we all have different versions of it. I'm not worthy is a very common one. The whole idea of original sin, I was born wrong. That's a very common one. And we all have these, you know, very serious one-line statements running in our awareness. And when we drop our attention beneath that judgment into the source of our experience, which has no judgment, and we allow ourselves to experience, even for a second, non-judgmental awareness, we are accessing a level of health within ourselves, which allows a fundamental shift to happen as we begin to truly believe that that which we seek is within us. And that the historical message of limitation that we all have been passed, and we're all women here, we've all been passed a lot of negativity about ourselves and what our role is in life and what our capacity is. And, you know, and we have all these lineage messages from the limitations of our parents and their parents and their parents and their parents and and it goes back and back and back. So this is not a one-time experience that we're expecting to have that's going to turn on the lights. What it is that every time we sink deeply into the cultivation of that which is non-judgmental. And you can feel, even as you feel into this statement, that which is non-judgmental, you can feel the freedom that is underneath that statement. And so whatever concept you can use to begin to breathe into that freedom, and that freedom, you understand that it's a different dimensional awareness. It's outside of all that judgment. And so you can drop that judgment, and having done that for 30 seconds, it changes our lives. Because we understand that there is something different available than the same experience that we always keep repeating inside ourselves of whatever our own version of worthlessness is. And we each have it, and we each have it in slightly different ways, so that we can't say one sentence that's going to free everybody, except that that real freedom is allowing us to feel what is common to every living being. And we know from our pets that they're already in that alignment. Animals are already in that alignment. And so they can demonstrate it to us and for us. And it is because of our mental complexity that we don't have that alignment. And we know when we don't have it because we're mentally complex and we're searching. And when we do have it, everything becomes very simple and we're loving. But understand, it's not a black and white experience. It's really about equanimity. All contrast exists from the perspective of equanimity, and everything is contrast. And without the judgment of one being better than the other, then it's just contrast. And if we can begin to view our lives as the experience of contrasts, our external lives, and our internal life as the place of equanimity, then we can begin to expect a different experience and actually have a different experience. But the first thing is the expectation, really the belief that our experience can change, that we are not stuck in this prison of judgment forever. And this is what brings us back to our practice. Back and back and back. Okay, I'm reaching, I'm stuck, I'm disappointed, I'm whatever. We all experience it in different ways every day. And so we bring ourselves back and back and back to this depth, home-based, safe place. And it's the most complex thing we will ever try to do. And at the same time, it's the simplest thing we ever try to do. But one thing is for sure, that we can feel good about ourselves for making the effort. And that can bring us back and back and back. And there is no human being that doesn't, there is no human being in our experience that doesn't experience this contrast on a regular basis. And so expecting ourselves to be enlightened every moment of every day is not realistic, as expecting ourselves to be what's coming to mind in despair every moment of every day is also false. They are equally false. So we understand that our experience will be a kaleidoscope, except when it's not. But when it's a kaleidoscope doesn't mean we failed. It just means we're in a different room in our internal house. And we can always bring ourselves back. And what happens with our inner experience is that the contact with our extraordinary gift at the source of our existence becomes more and more frequent. And our capacity to sustain that connection becomes greater. And in that understanding, our inner confidence that we have a home-based safe place. At the same time, recognizing that this body will fall away. But that even as that happens, there is the home-based safe place. In releasing ourselves into the all that is. It is the biggest paradox of life itself. that the dissolution that we fear and the dissolution that we wish to experience are two sides of the same coin. How may we serve further? Yes.
I was really appreciating what you were saying about change. I have a calendar that I made, and one of the statements on it is, if you want to move on, let go. And that's been so helpful in all areas of my life where I feel like I've got a problem and I'm concentrating on trying so hard to solve it. I actually am sticking myself there in a way. It's not that I want to ignore things or deny that things are the way they are, but something inside of me knows that in order to solve anything, I need to let go of what I think is so important that I won't be able to move on unless I solve it. This goes with physical health as well. What I've noticed is that there's always something that is quote unquote wrong going on in my body. I'll wake up with a neck ache, or my foot will hurt, or I feel kind of fluish or whatever. But that what you said about let go of the fear of that and allow it to change, because it always does change. It usually changes into something else that aches or whatever, but it's a different situation. And the knowledge that life is a series of having to deal with stuff, with things that come up, but I don't have to be stuck feeling like it's a burden, or that it's a constant, or that it's going to go on forever, or whatever. That the sooner I can let go of my fear or my actually focus on the problem, the more easily I can move on to my life and gratitude. Anyway, but the big thing for me is witnessing how quickly things can change if I'm not grasping. So thank you for speaking on that.
Totally welcome. How may we serve further?
Thank you so much for that answer. I wanted to just say that. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome.
Thank you.
We're so delighted that you're here.
Me too. Thank you.
Hmm. Anybody? You know, you were speaking a little bit about health issues coming up, and we're noticing that. I don't know, maybe it's because Rebecca tends to see patients a lot, but health issues are up for a lot of people. And these bodies are finite. They are. But in the total acceptance of that, we can participate in the process with a little less fear if we are not trying to hold the door to our awareness of the fact that our life will end. If we're not pushing all of our energy trying to keep that door closed. As we said earlier, the experience of dissolution into that which we hope for and that which we wish to deny, that double-edged experience of bliss and death in the state of complete allowing, or the other word is surrender. And what it is releasing ourselves into the ultimate uncertainty. I mean, the people who have gone before us and come back tell us that there's a white light and the ancestors are waiting. But, you know, for those who want to know, well, what happens after that? So, and the truth is, we don't know. And the thing that we constantly come to in our conversation with you is that ultimate reality does not fit into linear thinking. So it has everything to do with experience, and yet it is non-sensory, because our senses are also a part of our linear reality. They are of the body. And yet, ultimate reality for a human being we will say is the inner allowing, the ultimate allowing of the inner. So we want to say one thing about contrast. You know, in the beginning, we encouraged you to feel into the purity of intention. And of course, when we say purity, we're automatically referring to impurity. And so when we allow that to be an axis, then we find the balance point and we sink our attention into that. So there's no denial of the axis. And in that acceptance, we can suddenly see our own life on that axis. And we don't judge, you know, one is better than the other. We just see. And in this way, when we take our judgment out of the equation in every arena of our lives, we can let go a little bit and see that these tendencies, whatever they are what make us unique individuals. And that they allow us a unique creativity in who we are and how we live our lives. So we can begin to loosen our grip on the idea of who and what we should be, or, you know, what we are aspiring to. And we can allow ourselves to be who we are. And if what we see we dislike, we can begin to change, but we don't. People change in different ways. You know, there's the rare person that has the sudden flash of insight and then everything's different for the rest of their lives. That's very rare in our experience. But there are people who, you know, they can like make a cut. I will never eat that again. It's one of Rebecca's issues. So we're bringing that up. And, you know, that works for 6 weeks. And then, you know, it kind of peters out into something else. And so there are some tricks when you want to make a change. If you want to build a new habit, 21 days of doing something every day will usually ingrain it. And we recommend that to everyone for cultivating inner experience. That you sit, even if it's just for 10 minutes with an alarm, that you sit and feel for a deeper connection to that which is at the center. Understanding that every breath of cultivating that experience is redirecting ourselves. And that the things which draw us closer to wanting to know our source of divinity are what we cultivate. And the things that pull us away from that especially our inner judgment of ourselves. And understand that it is our inner experience that draws to us our outer experience in a big way. And the things are not always what they appear to be. For example, often the things we do for others are what expand us the most. Although we, may think that that would make us less. Finite reality says if we give away something, we have less. We all know from our experience that when we serve, we benefit. And of course, there's a balance to it all. And that's the balance point, the fulcrum. And we seek to experience that within ourselves. So we want to say, as we shift into meditation again, that we have really, really enjoyed today, because it feels like it's just gone from deeper to deeper to deeper. And we love that experience. We cherish sharing that with you. So let's allow ourselves, yes, let's allow ourselves to go deep into the heart of the heart for a few minutes together. So our little doggy's the timekeeper today. We are so happy to be with you. Such a joy. So much love. And we look forward to seeing you Wednesday or Sunday or both. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm forgetting I'm out of town next weekend. Need a little bit of a vacation. So we'll be back in 2 weeks. Very happy to see you then. So much love. Bye for now.